Friends, good evening. Hoping I am audible and visible. Let me start. Mahakal Kathan in English. I think audible and visible. Yes, I am audible and visible. Yes. Today I will read out only few lines from different areas, very scattered lines. While I was preparing my second edition of the book, first volume, Netaji Subhash Chandra, Kichu Bitorko Kichu Totto, the second edition of the volume, I added these parts of Mahakal Kathan, and that was compiled mainly by Sri Surojit Dasgupta. And for my next process, that part has been translated by Dr. Shankar Chatterjee. From that English translation, I am reading. For each item, I will tell you the background. Few sentences I will read out. The background is late Sunil Gupta asked Mahakal across the curtain, Bhagavanji, we have heard that you have lost your golden watch, which was gifted to you by your mother while you were passing through Afghanistan. You were compelled to bribe the Afghan police in your situation compulsion. Then Mahakal answered. This is from the diary of Sunil Krishna Gupta. When asked about his having given away the wristwatch given by his mother to intelligence sleuths in Afghanistan, he said, quote, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That wristwatch was presented to me by my mother. How can I hand it over to someone just like that? That wristwatch is still there with me. That wristwatch is still with me. Still with me." And in many books you will see that under situation compulsion, he had to bribe the Afghan police to make his way safe out of Afghanistan. In many books it is written, but this is the statement from the lips of the Mahakal himself. Then another, the background is when during the Justice Khosla Commission proceedings, just before going to his Japan, Sunilda went to Bhagavanji in Uttarakhand to ask what to do and how to do. What should be his duty? He went there to get his orders and suggestions. That was 73. And this is and and I am quoting the statement of Mahakal. Satyanarayana Sinha already deposed before the Khosla Commission. He said, ask him to speak out openly. Ask him to speak out openly. There is nothing to be afraid of now. There is nothing to be afraid of now. Satyanarayana Singh is a big deposition in Justice Khosla Commission. Another suggestion. On 20th August 1973, after detailed discussion about Formosa, he gave detailed advice on what points are to be established before the commission. He said that first you need to establish that there was no plane crash on that day at Taihoku. Next point, you have to establish by analyzing the depositions of different witnesses that even if there is a plane crash, he has been seen by different people at different places after the date of the plane crash. This is the suggestions. These are the suggestions to Sunil Krishna Gupta. Then, few lines about Mujibur Rahman from the lips of Mahakal. It is October 1st, 1972. Quote, Mujib is now in fool's paradise. Mujib is now in fool's paradise. This time, when the blow strikes him, he will yell help and help. This time, when the blow strikes him, he will yell help and help. On the same day, he is telling Sunilda, do you know, snakes love me very much. At Nimshar, that is Noimisharanno, several cobras used to come and stay beneath my pidi, that is wooden sitting platform. He was sitting, meditating, sitting on a pidi, that is wooden platform, and snakes were behind, cobras were sitting behind this platform. Same day, quote, there is no other example of one having faced so many buffeting in one lifetime. Even then, I have been able to keep a smiling face. And from another diary of 25th January 1968, quote, in China, 2.5 crore people have been massacred in Cultural Revolution. I was present when the great killing began in Canton and Peking. The entire road was filled with a 4-inch thick cake of dried blood. The lorries fully loaded with corpses were used to remove the dead bodies. On fate of communism, under quote, on 19th October 79, Mahakal telling, quote, Russia is now 50% changed. The remaining 50% will be changed. China has fully changed. It is there only in name. On Jesus and Mary in India, Atanu Bhattacharya, Kaushik, on Jesus and Mary in India. Mary is buried in Pakistan. Jesus' guru was from Gorakhpur. He belonged to a Naga sect. His guru has predicted what would happen to him and that he would bring him back from the grave. Jesus had married and settled here with his family. His descendants, I think I am better audible today because I am using no fan. Only some sounds of the vehicles passing on the road. His descendants live here to this day. Jesus was in Bengal for quite a few years with Bauls. In 1925 to 1935 period, the old Prabasi Potrika, there are hundreds of Baul songs mentioning names of Jesus and John. You see his level of reading. Dead Sea Scroll, written documents found near the Dead Sea about distortion of history. Mahakal is telling. On 10th November 66, the all-conquering Alexander came and defeated Puru. The fact is exactly the opposite. That is, what you know is wrong. The fact is exactly opposite. Along with Alexander came his friends and companions. Their daily journals exist still today, still exist in Europe. Alexander himself came to the court of Puru disguised as an envoy. Maharaj Puru welcomed him. He told Puru that his master wanted to march across the Indus. He desires that the Greek army should pass unhindered. Before Alexander, there was a golden dish, and on it was 1 inch thick piece of bread made of gems. Alexander asked, "Are you ridiculing me?" Puru said, quote, "The gems that you are coming for in my holy land are of little value to me. I was taking a chance. What happens in the event of a battle? Hindus know the art of holy war. Hindus understand the language of religion. You have come here as a guest. You shall return as one. Nobody will touch you, a hair of yours. Today we have extended the hospitality of Hindus. Tomorrow you will witness their martial powers." First it was the elephant of Puru. The first arrow killed the Alexander's horse. The next arrow knocked off his helmet. Alexander's artillery mounted an attack. The elephants began grabbing Greek soldiers with their trunks, and the mouths, warriors mounted on the elephants, began spearing them. The Alexander troops surrounded them and asked him, the Alexander troops surrounded him and asked him to sue for peace. Peace. The army pleaded for compromise and surrender. Alexander escaped. Alexander was preparing for a battle again. His troops revolted. Truce. I promise you that if you stop fighting, I shall fight your enemies. Puru's friends, a vassal of Puru's. Alexander took a different route. Then Alexander fled to Puru to find a route so that he can escape from this land in a safe way. Alexander took a different route on his way back, lest his conquered subjects massacred his army. That is why he retreated through Sindh. He came in a northern line, but now he was compelled to escape from this land through Sindh, through a southern line, because if he like to retrace the past line, the persons who have been wounded in the past will take revenge. In fear, he wanted a safe line, and Puru helped him to escape, to retreat from this land. Sadhunath Sarkar, he was the first man to congratulate that professor, Indian, Harish Chandra Seth. Dr. Mojumdar, that's R.C. Mojumdar, also wrote that after the death of Sadhunath Sarkar, he retracted his statement. It figures in some college textbooks outside Asia. This fact, the defeat and retreat of Alexander, is written in some of the books outside the Asia. You may get information about Mr. Seth, the historical congress in the British regime. Mr. Seth at Nagpur from Mr. S.L. Bhandankar. The name of his house is Shantidham and the name of the locality is Mahal. 21st November 66, another diary. Long ago, on a way in spring, a ghostly person came to know about a heinous conspiracy. The ghostly man considered it extremely essential. You mean, mind, ghostly man. Ghostly man. He considered it extremely essential to make the information known at once, at one place, at least. This is a big chapter, I will not go into. This is a big event in 66. I will not read it now. That is in Bengali in my book, first volume. Netaji Subhash Chandra, you can read it from. This is a big part. I will not read it now. And about Macaulay and Max Muller, I have read yesterday. I will not repeat it, though some other additional contents are here. I will go over to another part. Yes. The betrayal of Shahnawaz Khan. The betrayal of Shahnawaz Khan. 23rd October 72, diary. Regarding Shahnawaz Khan, Mahakal is telling, on the other side of this story of his betrayal is true. On the other side of the story of his betrayal is true. Completely true. He is a betrayer. His brother was in the British Indian Army in this country. When news reached me, then I had ordered his arrest and court-martial in a cabinet meeting. I had put my final signature on it, but by then it was too late. he has escaped. I knew everything, but I kept things to myself. The first to suspect was Mr. Chatterjee, that is Dr. A.C. Chatterjee. After coming to know, he came running to me, almost out of breath. He said some were suspecting Shahnawaz. I smiled and asked him, "You came to know it today?" Shocked, as if having seen a ghost, he said, "You knew it all the while, but did not tell us, did not caution us. Anything dangerous could have happened, meaning something dangerous for me could have happened. I had taken people trained by others. I have taken people trained by others. If I was to sack him there, there were a lot more who deserved to be weeded out. Many were suspicious. একটা জায়গায় বলছেন, is telling, if I remove everyone, how can I run the army? Many suspicious persons. If I remove everyone, suspicious, how can I run? I have taken persons trained by others. I had not discussed my future plan before anyone. I knew long ago that Japan would surrender. I knew long before Japan will surrender. Since then, I have been busy planning what to do next. Shahnawaz had never been Major General. Shahnawaz had never been Major General. Shahnawaz had never been a Major General. Now, in this country, are falsely quoting elevated ranks because there is nothing to challenge them. Therefore, they have nothing to worry about. And the same thing you will get in the deposition of Sejda Suresh Chandra Bose in Justice Khosla Commission. And also you will get all these things by Dr. Ramchandra Rao, deposition in Justice Khosla Commission. All these will corroborate with the statement of this Mahakal on Shahnawaz. Then, how many? What is the time? Dalai Lama. Oh, 20 minutes. Okay. I will not disturb you much. Dalai Lama's flight to India. Abhijit got most unexplored interactions between King Puru and Alexander, both from two rich civilization. Yes. সম্প্রতি একটি লেখায় বলেছে, বেহালার বিখ্যাত বীরেন রায় নেতাজিকে নিয়ে অন্তর্দেশীয় বিমানে করে জায়গায় নিয়ে যেতেন। এটা কি সত্যি? পার্থবাবু, আমি বীরেন রায় সম্বন্ধে একদিন ডিসকাস করেছিলাম। আমি বীরেন রায়, I have discussed on Biren Rai. I will give answer subsequently. Biren Rai is a big man. He was very fond of, he was very respectful to Netaji. No doubt, very respectful. Biren Rai was very respectful. He is a very big man. I will discuss subsequently. Dalai Lama, 27th October 72. Dalai Lama did not want to come to India. Dalai Lama did not like to come to India. At one time, the Dalai Lama had asked for 50,000 rifles and bullets, adequate amount only, but Nehru government of India refused as they were scared of China. But history would have taken another turn if he did it. China could have been repulsed. America was America also developed cold feet as Tibet was so far UNO could not do anything because of R, that is Russia. Dalai Lama was annoyed because India did not help. Hence the reluctance to go to India. There was a pact with British in India that government of India could have taken advantage of it but did nothing. Simply to please China, the Dalai Lama intended to go to Bhutan and stay there. It was Mahakal telling, it was I who persuaded him to come to India. But Dalai Lama kept saying India is foolish. I convinced Dalai Lama that the Indian public opinion was 100% for him. The Indian public was so sympathetic to Dalai Lama that if Nehru did not give him asylum, the Indian public could get rid of Nehru, would get rid of Nehru. I also convinced him that the Indian PM is my friend. And of course, at one time, he was a friend after all. It was then that he agreed. Then the journey began. The Chinese did not have a clue as to where he was headed. When he was a week's trek from the Indian border, China came to know that Dalai Lama was on his route to India. China prepared to carry out aerial bombings on him. 2,000 people from mules to palanquins were walking together as the huge procession was proceeding. A supernatural event occurred. The sky above the procession was covered with a dense mist. No bomber aircraft could find or locate them. After reaching the Indian border, the Dalai Lama said a prayer. Miraculously, after everybody reached India safely, the mist cleared off. Where would China bomb them from? The route had been so meticulously planned that China had no clue as to which route the Dalai Lama had taken for his flight. They came to know when he was 7 days' walk away from the border, but they were unable to carry out the air raid because of the dense and dark mist. None can provide any logical explanation for this mind-boggling phenomenon that took place. The senior most lamas of Tibet have gone away to some inaccessible place along with their ancient scriptures, sacred texts and treasures. The place is so inaccessible that, leave alone China, no power on earth can find them there. I am telling the background. This is told to the disciples by Mahakal in 72. It is recorded in their diary. And can you imagine, when I was listening to the BBC, the live broadcast of an interview of Dalai Lama about 12 years back, Dalai Lama. You can go to the BBC still on record. The Dalai Lama is giving these descriptions in details. How a dense cloud came over them, and the Chinese pilots could not see them. This dense cloud protected. This appearance of dense cloud that is described by Dalai Lama himself in his interview to BBC. The same thing. This is called cross verification. I have given this his BBC his interview, and this I have in my book. I have corroborated this. Only I will take your only 5 to 6 minutes. Only his meeting with Swami Abhedananda. Yes, possibly I have in my book. Swami Abhedananda. 28th August. It is being told to the disciples. Under quote. You know, Swami Abhedananda, since a few days before passing away, before his death, used to constantly mention my name. Used to say, Dharma has gone, truth has gone, humanity has gone, every virtue has gone. There is nothing good that is left behind. Can you ask Subhas? He's telling to his disciple, can you ask Subhas to come here and see me once? Can you ask Subhas to come here and see me once? On hearing this, I instantly went to pay him a visit. I reached his door. He got up and took me and made me sit beside him on his bed. I touched his feet and paid my obeisance. He said, yours, Abhedananda said, he said to Subhas, underquote, yours is a true sacrifice. Yours is a true sacrifice. I have come to know everything. You shall go. You shall go. You shall be victorious. Victory awaits you. Victory awaits you. Then the last midnight meet of Subhas Chandra with Kavi Guru in middle of January 1941, in disappearance from India, from Elgin Road. Being told to the disciple on record, quoting, under quote, my last meeting was with Kavi Guru, Rabindranath Tagore. My last meeting was with Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore. Very late at night. Nobody was aware of this. It was he who gave me the money and blessings to undertake the journey. What worth is life without ideals, or the world without ideals? What worth is life without ideals, or the world without ideals? Yes, Joydev Babu, not only Hoglar Kirstein, many books from Europe, many books. The presence of Jesus in India in 2 phases. Many books. I consulted all these volumes, which come from Europe, and I have corroborated the statement of Mohakal on Jesus and Mary, and these volumes. I have corroborated and written, I think, 2 to 3 articles in my volume 3 of Subhas Chandra, because there I have given indication that there are some similarities, some commonalities in the history of mystery part of the life of Jesus, and also the mystery part of the life of Netaji Subhas Chandra. Some commonalities. That's why I am interested to read all these volumes. on Jesus's presence in India. কাশ্মীর শান্ত হলে কাশ্মীরে লুকিয়ে থাকা যিশুর জীবনে অনেক কথা পৃথিবীর মানুষ জানতে পারবে। Yes. Most unexplored interactions between King Puru Alexander, both from two rich. Yes. What Mahakal has told in Europe, in some of the very old libraries, there are still now the diaries of the generals who accompanied Alexander to this part of South Asia, this Bharatvarsha. Their diaries, the army persons, the generals' diaries, still now preserved. Still now preserved. In those diaries it is written that Alexander was defeated. Alexander had to retreat. Most unexplored interactions. Birendra is a big man, no doubt. Partha Babu is a big man, and after partition of India, even before partition, the first private airport, first pilot training center is by him in Behala. And in the initial part of this partitioned India, the projects of the airports is by him. He was a very big man, but he never joined Congress, never. He was very much respectful to Netaji, always independent, as MLA and even MP, very respectful. I have discussed on this man, Birendra, his life and his international, his contacts with the Europe. A high level man, very technically, very skilled man. Very skilled man. I have discussed, but this thing Netaji অন্তর্দেশীয় বিমানে করে বিভিন্ন জায়গায় নিয়ে যেতেন, এটা কি সত্যি? In which period? In his Subhash Chandra period? Not definitely Netaji period. Or you want to know in the mystery, part of the mystery, after 45, which period you want to know? At least what you want to know, so long I do not get any document, I will not comment, neither in the positive way nor in the negative way. In no way I will comment. But he was very respectful till his death. Thank you. Good night.